Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking an absolutely incredible journey, tracing the evolution of digital animation. We're going to look at how we went from an era of grueling manual labor, where literally every single frame was a battle, to the lightning-fast reality of modern AI generation. We're exploring how the creator's role has fundamentally shifted from a painstaking artist to a high-level director. Get ready, because the way we create animated stories has completely transformed.
Okay, let's dive right into this, because this quote hits the nail on the head and captures the massive pain point that has historically gatekept aspiring creators. You know, for decades, if you had a brilliant idea for an animated story, you hit this huge wall: the software. Learning traditional animation tools was just a monumental time investment. You'd spend weeks trying to wrap your head around the basics of keyframing, timelines, and rendering. And honestly, most people got so frustrated that their ideas never even saw the light of day. It was basically an exclusive club with a really steep price of entry.
So that brings us to Section 1, the manual animation era. Let's look back at how this all started.
To really appreciate where we are today, we have to look back at the nostalgic golden age of internet animation, specifically Alan Becker's legendary Animator vs. Animation web series. And this timeline brilliantly illustrates the sheer mind-boggling dedication it used to take. Look at this chronological lore. From a simple stick figure named Victim in 2006 to The Chosen One in 2007, The Dark Lord in 2011, and eventually The Second Coming in 2014. Just think about that timeline. Every single punch, every laser beam, every shattered application window, it required months, sometimes years of painstaking manual keyframing in Adobe Animate or Blender. Becker wasn't just drawing characters, right? He was meticulously orchestrating thousands of micro-movements to create the illusion of life. Let's zoom in on that specific character from the 2014 release, The Second Coming. This is where the internet lore gets incredibly meta. The Second Coming is this orange stick figure who fights back so fiercely that he literally destroys the animator's on-screen cursor. And he only spares the animator's digital life on one condition: the animator has to teach the stick figure how to animate. It's this hilarious irony, the literal struggle of the animator battling his own creations on screen, which perfectly symbolizes just how difficult and combative traditional animation software could feel to a creator back then.
But this meta-narrative from Alan Becker leads us to a fascinating question for our modern reality. Instead of fighting your computer, instead of spending weeks battling the software just to make a stick figure wave its hand, what if your computer did the animating for you? What if you could just bypass that timeline entirely?
Well, that question brings us to Section 2, the rise of AI animators. We've officially entered an era where you get to step out of the trenches and into the role of a director, using tools that completely democratize the medium. Now, what's really interesting here is how these platforms actually function. You've got platforms like Domo AI, where you simply type in your creative idea to generate an animation. Then there's Vigil AI, offering text-to-animation and image-to-video capabilities. And Render Forest operates as this comprehensive AI cartoon generator, instantly turning your written prompts into animated cartoons with different visual styles, built-in characters, the whole shebang. You bypass the complex software entirely, your text prompts go straight into fully realized cartoons in seconds.
But wait, it doesn't stop at just the visuals. Welcome to Section 3, AI scriptwriting and research.
Long before a single image is ever generated, a modern creator structures their entire video from scratch using AI. Step 1 is bringing in Google's Notebook LM, but we're not just using it for taking notes. You're actually using Notebook LM as a dedicated content strategist. You feed it links to successful YouTube channels right within your niche. By handing the AI this massive library of proven, high-performing content, it learns what actually works. Then for Step 2, you use custom prompts to ask it for video ideas. It digs into those successful channels and comes back with unique, data-backed ideas that are perfectly targeted for your audience. Once you've got that winning idea, you take it a step further. You create a second Notebook LM chat, and this time, you upload links to specific, wildly popular videos that match the style you're going for. By applying a custom YouTube scriptwriting prompt, Notebook LM basically transforms into a professional scriptwriter. It will generate a full 800 to 1,000-word script modeled precisely on the structure, the pacing, and the format of those successful reference videos. You literally have an AI writing your narrative based on proven data. That is a real game changer.
With a shiny new, completed script in hand, we arrive at Section 4, prompting the visuals.
Okay, so we have our text, but how do we translate that narrative into actual visual directions for the AI? So the crucial point is using ChatGPT to bridge that gap.
You feed your Notebook LM script into ChatGPT and use it as a visual renderer. It analyzes your script and automatically breaks it down into a complete production package. First, it generates a visual base prompt to lock in your character design and art style so everything stays consistent. Then, scene by scene, it generates the exact voiceover text, the image prompt to create the scene, and the motion prompt to animate it.
And that brings it all home with Section 5, rendering and animating.
We've done the research, we've written the script, and we've generated the visual prompts. We essentially have the cheat codes to animation at this point. The final phase is to take those scene prompts from GPT and paste them into a tool like Google Flow using a model like Stable Diffusion Pro. This generates your highly consistent base images for every single scene. Once you have those static images, step 2 is pulling them into an AI animation tool like OmniFlash. You paste in the motion prompt, and instantly, your static images are brought to life as dynamic 8-second motion clips. You just repeat this for your scenes, and boom, your animation is complete.
Let's move to put this side by side and see how this builds a completely new reality for creators. On one side, we've got the manual era of 2006. Alan Becker's grueling workflow required complex software like Adobe Animate, massive learning curves, and weeks or even months of manual keyframing. Today, the AI workflow uses a stack of Notebook LM, ChatGPT, Google Flow, and OmniFlash. You act as a high-level director, and a complete animation can be finished in a matter of hours. The barrier to entry has quite literally vanished.
Which leaves us with a pretty profound final thought. In Alan Becker's lore, the animator famously battled his creations on the screen. But today, you input a prompt, and the AI builds the world, writes the script, and moves the characters for you. Now that AI can animate our creations in seconds, who is truly the animator and who is the animation? Are we directing the tools, or are the tools shaping our stories? It is an absolutely fascinating time to be a creator. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I encourage you to go out and direct your own epic stories today.